Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to each of you joining us from across South Africa. My name is Dikatso Motai. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager at the National Empowerment Fund, and it is my privilege to serve as your Program Director for today's Youth Entrepreneurship Month webinar, and we've titled it Empowering the Next Generation of Local Entrepreneurs. November is South Africa's Entrepreneurship Month, a time when the country shines the spotlight on innovators, problem solvers, and business builders who are not waiting for opportunities. They are creating them. Today's session is designed for you, the young entrepreneur navigating a fast-changing economy, building ideas that matter, and looking for real pathways to scale, fund, sustain, and take your business to market. This webinar is brought to you in partnership with Proudly South African, the National Empowerment Fund, and the South African Youth Trade Association, also known as SAYTA, three organizations committed to youth participation, localization, and inclusive growth. We have an exciting insight-packed program, so let's get right into it. And to help us set the tone, we begin with an organization that has consistently championed youth entrepreneurship, local manufacturing, and job creation. Our first speaker is Ms. Happy Makumalungidi, Chief Marketing Officer of Proudly South African. She's a communication strategist and educator and dynamic leader who has played a key role in revitalizing South Africa's buy local movement. Her work sits at the center of localization, access to markets, and building a culture where South Africa and South Africans choose local first. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Happy Ngidi.
Thank you so much, Dikatso, Program Director. Thank you, sis. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome this morning as we tackle issues around entrepreneurship, given the fact that November is Entrepreneurship Month. We're delighted to be partnering with all the stakeholders online this morning to talk through some of these opportunities, challenges, whatever the case may be. And so as introduced, I am the CMO from Proudly South African, and this morning I'm representing Proudly South African. Please allow me, Program Director, to share my screen. I will, there's a very involved presentation I have, but in the interest of time, I will just browse through it and go to areas that I really want to showcase and talk to. Can you see my screen, Program Director?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great stuff. I want to kick off with the slide that talks to Proudly South African mandate. We generally don't want to assume that everybody who's online is aware of the work that we do as Proudly South African. And so we have a domestic mandate, and our job is to advocate for the buying of locally manufactured products and services, just to ensure that all sectors of society buy local in order to stimulate job creation. And we achieve this by doing a couple of things, like encouraging both public and private sectors to prioritize on their procurement spend, fostering an environment that supports and stimulates local manufacturing, and educating and inspiring consumers to choose local products. Next slide I want to talk to is around our focus areas. Preferential procurement from an education perspective for the public sector is one of our focus areas. Consumer education is a big part of it, because we of the view that irrespective of where you sit in your corporate setting or your professional setting, ultimately when we leave our jobs, we are consumers one way or another. Then we promote the accessibility of locally made products and services. Many a times, South Africans will ask us where they can find locally manufactured products. We as Proudly South African are your go-to guys. If you are looking for any product in any sector that you may be wanting to procure, and so promoting accessibility of locally made products and services is also our other key area of focus. And the general public, which speaks to the consumer education I alluded to earlier on. The Proudly South African phenomenon is a global phenomenon. We are asking South Africans to think globally, but act locally. It is a phenomenon that was started, we were started by Tatu Mandela 24 years ago at the very first job summit And how he started us was on the back of the Australian buy local movement. Every country in the world pushes its own buy local movement. And ours was on the back of the Australian model, which remains the world's most successful to date. You will see that on the African continent, the Proudly South African campaign has been very instrumental. We are told that it is one of those that really, really work to an extent that countries like Zambia, Swaziland, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Mauritius, and Tunisia have come to us, try and talk to us about exploring discussions on how to take this model to their countries and ensure that it works. What I want to jump to now is focus on entrepreneurship in light of the Entrepreneurship Month, which is where we are now in November. But before we go there, I just want to talk to some of you who may be online, who may be keen to consider joining Proudly South African as a member. We are a member-based campaign. We charge a fee for any product or service to be affiliated with Proudly South African. For many businesses that are online this morning, which are some of them small businesses, entrepreneurs, you would have to pay us 500 Rand per annum for various access to market opportunities that I'm going to take you through a little later. But what you do see on the screen is the criteria that we go through. Every company or every product that wants to join Proudly South African, it goes through a very stringent vetting process. The first thing we look at is local content. We say at least 50% of the cost of production must be incurred in South Africa, and there must be substantial transformation of any imported material. We understand that there's components of the product that you're making that you may have to bring in from another country, because as a country, as South Africa, we simply don't have enough products locally, or components rather, locally. And we understand that you may have to bring those from elsewhere, the raw material, but the making of the actual product has to happen in South Africa. The second criteria is quality. We, it's one thing for us as Proudly South African to go out in the public domain and say, local is lekker, support local, but in the same breath, it has to be good quality product that we are asking our consumers to buy. It cannot be Hong Kong. And that's where we come in when we vet your product to make sure that if I buy a pair of heels, I don't wear it for 3 weeks or a month and then the shoe is wobbly. At least we are able to find the supplier and say, fix this if that ever happens. The third and fourth issues are softer issues, but just as important. Fair labor practice in South Africa. The company must comply with the labor legislation of the country. And in the course of doing your business, is your company environmentally friendly and responsible production processes that are environmentally friendly and acceptable? So that's what we look at as Proudly South African. If you have keen interest, join us as a member. Access to market opportunities for entrepreneurs in light of entrepreneurship. I will mention a few things that you may not see on screen currently, but some of the things that you would have access to as a member is a database called Market Access Platform, MAP. And MAP is a listing qualifying products and services on the Proudly SA website, and the B2B market access platform. This allows consumers, businesses and public entities to easily find and procure local products. Excuse me. Sorry, I lost my my screen there, but and there's exhibitions and events, facilitating participation in various trade shows, market expos like the annual Buy Local Summit and Expo that I'm hoping many of you online know about it. It happens every year in March at the Sandton Convention Center. And we now have an online store presence called the Proudly SA Shop Proudly SA, national online store, expanding reach both to B2C and B2B customers. Some of the access to market opportunities I want to make reference to that have happened this year already are activities such as the Wine Expo. If you're a member of Proudly South African and you are in the agro-processing sector, the wine space, we organize what we call the Wine Expo, which takes place in July every year. And it's an access to market opportunity where you don't pay anything to be part of it. You just come and sell your product at the show. Delicious Festival, many of you will know the Delicious Festival. We book a village at the Delicious Festival. Our members don't pay a cent. They just come to the festival with the product that is ready to sell to 20,000 festival goers over a period of 2 days. There's many members of Proudly South African who have benefited handsomely from Delicious Festival, who even have beautiful stories to tell where they've gone back to their businesses, invested the money they make at Delicious. And there's one of our members who I always make an example of. His business is called Khona Dladla in Soweto. It's a pizza business. And he has gone back with the money that he's made from Delicious Festival, gone back to invest the money in his business to take care of overheads, but also managed to open another pizza shop, given the money that, the revenue rather, that he generated from the Delicious Festival. If you are in the furniture business, maybe you make bespoke furniture in South Africa, or you're part of the value chain of the furniture sector, we book, for example, what we know as Decorex. And at Decorex, we take some of our members to Decorex with your finished product to expose and sell your product to the people who go to Decorex. Decorex is a beast in the furniture sector space. It happens every year in 3 cities, as far as I'm aware. Sorry, in Gauteng, in KZN, and in the Western Cape. And we take you to Decorex to showcase your product there. We partner with the third-party stakeholders, such as the DTIC, for example. Today is a perfect example of a partnership through this webinar as well. But with the DTIC, we always book space at the Rent Show, where we take some of our member companies to go sell their product at the Rent Show. There's a lot. Manufacturing in Daba, same story, where we book a village and we take some of our members to that village for them to go have access to market and sell their product. We partner with a lot of retail shopping centers around the country where we have trade shows with them, and we take our members to those trade shows to sell their product to unassuming consumers who may be going to the mall on a Saturday and they come across proudly South African products, locally manufactured products, and proudly South African members who are working hard to stay afloat as businesses. I do want to say to entrepreneurs that are online this morning who my understanding is that every entrepreneur is always looking for business opportunities for their product or for their service. And I do want to encourage those of you who are sitting, who are in this webinar, to invest in yourself. And the meaning of invest in yourself is that affiliate yourself with entities such as Proudly South African, whose job from a domestic mandate perspective is to care enough for local businesses to ensure that it works. But with that said, it takes two to tango. As a business owner, you've got to knock on our door as a member of the campaign. You've got to knock on our door constantly, all the time, and say, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm in the process of launching in my business. I'm pivoting my business. I want to do this. I always make reference to it as a doctor and a patient relationship. When you're not feeling well, you're the one that approaches your doctor. And then the doctor will do a proper diagnosis. But you already know that you're not feeling well. And what we are asking our members to do is to let us know what it is that they struggle with or what it is that they need in the course of doing their business at any given time, not necessarily when there's big events coming up, but at any given time, because opportunities might be out there and you may not be aware of them because you're not engaging enough and you're not optimizing your relationship with Proudly South African. With that said, there's quite a few activities we're doing in November in light of Entrepreneurship Month, but also our festive season campaign has kicked in, and many of our members are benefiting from the festive season campaign, which is largely digital, where we are packaging their products, whether it's skincare, hair care, clothing, textile, footwear, leather sector, and all of that, even FMCG food. There's a lot of cooking happening during the festive season for those, community members or those consumers that can afford to buy, prepare, and share and break bread together. We're encouraging them to make their purchasing decisions in favor of local products. And so, so member companies benefit from our festive season campaign coming up, but also from straight thereafter, around the 26th of December, the back to school campaign kicks in. There's a lot of locally made products in South Africa that speak to school-going learners, whether it's lunch boxes and books and pens and uniform and shoes and all of that. And we are partnering with some of our member companies to showcase those products. So there's a lot that happens at Proudly South African. We just don't have enough time to unpack the true essence of our work, but I'm hoping that what I've shared with you gives you a sense of what it is that we do as a campaign, and the kind of access to market opportunities we embark on. as I said earlier on, that as a campaign, we care enough for local businesses because we understand that the private sector is not going to be able to absorb every graduate into their ecosystem. The unemployment problem in South Africa is a real problem. In fact, the figures we get from Statistics SA is not even a true reflection of our problem in South Africa, because those figures don't factor in people who've given up on looking for jobs, those people who apply and they don't even get a regret letter. And these are qualified people who've gone to school, who have done the necessary training. And so at Proudly South African, we understand that the private sector is not going to be able to absorb everybody into their ecosystem. So entrepreneurship has to carry the economy of the country. In fact, entrepreneurship is a tried and tested method the world over. Entrepreneurship carries economies around the world. And this is why we've got to take care of our own economy and ensure that our entrepreneurs are given the time of day and they are heard and seen. Everybody, as human beings, we just want to be heard and we want to be seen, and we will do the rest. And those of you who are online, who are stakeholders, I want to thank you for making it today to share your financial and non-financial programs. And let's walk this journey together with Proudly South African and care enough to ensure that these entrepreneurs make it. Thank you so much, Dikatso. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Happy. That was very informative. And later we'll have a Proudly South African member that will share how their business has benefited from being a member. So we're looking forward to that as well. Next, we focus on youth participation in global trade and the role of young people in shaping South Africa's economic future. Our next speaker is Mr. Luyolo Dwesi, is one of the country's most passionate advocates for youth empowerment. As president of SAYTA, he pushes for young people to take bold steps into trade, export opportunities, and participation in strategic sectors. He currently represents South Africa's youth voice in global platforms, including the B20 Trade and Investment Task Force under South Africa's G20 presidency. And with that, let's please welcome Mr. Luyolo Dwesi.
Good morning to the organizers. Good morning to everyone, especially young people. I would like to offer my gratitude for this opportunity to come and engage. And unfortunate, but I won't be having a presentation, but I will be addressing in this session. So as you said that, my name is Luyolo Dwesi and I'm the president of the SAU Trade Association. And I'm currently a member of the SADC National Committee under the Trade and Investment Subcommittee. I just want to introduce the organization first before I go further. The SAU Trade Association is an organization that's focusing on accelerating youth participation within the global trade, focusing on the export market and also the domestic market. We currently a member-based organization that have 4 key areas that we are focusing on: promoting accessibility to finance and also promoting accessibility to market, promoting accessibility also in terms of capacity building, and including promoting sustainability within investment. Because we do believe that as an organization, for us to have sustainable investment as a country, a lot of investment that are coming in, but the problem is a sustainability problem that we have within investment. For having investment that are sustainable investment are sustainable when their economical and social benefits outweigh the total cost of the investment. And currently, we have challenges of managing social goals such as productive transformation and social inclusion because of not having investment that are not sustainable. Hence, as an organization, we're also focusing there. As an organization, we are responding also to the global concerns that was also raised by the World Trade Organization. In 2019, the World Trade Organization interrogated a high-level panel where they admitted that there is a need of simplifying rules so that micro, small, medium enterprises, which are mostly dominated and owned by young people, can access the conducive environment that has been created within the global trade environment. They admitted that there is a need of empowering young people to participate in global trade. Hence, they introduced programs such as your World Young Trade Leaders Program, which seeks to coordinate young people globally and ensure that they come with strategies on how young people can participate within the global trade environment. We are also fortunate that there were adoptions that were made at the African Union Assembly on protocols and decisions that are affecting the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, in which the key protocols that were adopted were focusing on youth and women, which seeks to promote inclusive and sustainable socio-economic development that will create equal opportunities for young people. Because there's a belief that in order to accelerate a robust economy that addresses the challenges that we are facing, young people must be at the center and inclusivity must be non-negotiable. But even though these interventions that have been made globally in our continent, young people, they still face a wide range of bottlenecks which constrains them not to participate in trade. As you know, we have a challenge of lack of accessibility in market, lack of accessibility in finance, lack of information and capacity. As I mentioned, also the challenge of sustainable investment. I do think as young people that we need to be we need to have a widespread approach that will ensure that we do create a conducive environment for ourselves and playing a big role in terms of the economic transformation agenda by driving an economic growth within our economy. And currently, just to go within the demographics, we all know that we have a youth populated country. But with this youth population, it has become a threat because we are at the face of the high rate of socio-economic challenges that we are facing, which was not supposed to be like that. In this population of the country, we have about 64 million people, but out of that 4.4 million people that are in the country, 20.9 million people are young people. And out of the number of young people, 3% of that number are business owners, meaning about 671,000 young people are business owners. And out of that number, 81%, it is the informal sector, meaning that we have many businesses that are non-compliant, businesses that are not being recognized within the database. Hence, you find that we're still having this challenge, lack of accessibility to finance and lack of accessibility to market. Now, how we then turn that threat into a solution? We realize that as an organization that there is a need of a bold microeconomic reform in South Africa that will adapt to global changes and also addressing the domestic constraints. We saw that we just been imposed, I think 2 months, 3 months ago, by the global tariffs that we've been imposed to us by the USA. But as an organization, we stood and we said that instead of this becoming a threat, but let it be an opportunity to improve our trade competitiveness. So if you go to our website, you will see that we just launched a global lookup tariff tool that seeks to decentralize trade and also improve market intelligence. And it is very helpful for young people who don't have information and understanding the trading environment globally. So, for example, if you are a business that is coming from rural areas, for example, in Eastern Cape, maybe Lusikisiki, and you seek to export your product, maybe you are in the agriculture, you are just farming, but you have a potential of exporting a product. But the problem, you don't understand trade because trade has been created. There's a narrative that trade is being created only for bigger companies, which is there's no such. Everyone must participate within the global trade. So you just go to our website, go to the global lookup tariff tool. Maybe let's say you want to export your product to Brazil. There's an option there where you put the country that you are coming from. You put that you're coming from South Africa and you like to export your product to Brazil. And there's an option where you need to put your HS code because every product has an HS code and one product can have different HS code. So if you don't know the HS code of your product, we also establish an AI tool there where you just put the name of the product. It will give you the HS code of your products and then you select from that. After that, it will take you to the next phase where it will show you who are the buyers of your product in Brazil and what competition do you have within that market. It will also give you the custom laws and the regulations that for you to export your product in that country, what is required for you to do and how you must package your product for your product to enter that global market. We also have a premium global lookup tool, but that is for our members. That one is very advanced because once you enter, it also shows you the details of the buyers. It gives you the contact details of the buyers. So through our multi-stakeholder approach, through our strategic partnership, we have launched these tools partnering with global institutions. So there's a team that we have globally that is analyzing the global market. And so it's a very great opportunity for young people who wish to export their products in other countries. I do want to emphasize that as young people, for us to play a big role within our economy, we need to take ourselves seriously. We must not start businesses for the sake of side hustle or start businesses for the sake of having a better lifestyle. But we must start businesses to ensure that we want to create job opportunities within our economy. We must have a long-term goal to say that in the near future, we want to have youth-owned businesses that will be JSE listed, particularly youth black-owned businesses. So we need to take ourselves seriously to ensure that we have quality businesses and we have people that are focusing on businesses full-time, not as something that you are doing temporarily, so that we can be drivers of our economic growth. I want to say that as young people, there's an opportunity for us within the global market where we need to come with technology-driven solutions. We need to come with global solutions and use our ideas and innovation to come up with global solutions within the global market. I do want to say that there are opportunities because South Africa is also abided to the multilateral and bilateral trade agreements. We are also having trade partnerships that we have with other countries, and which speaks about exporting products, particularly, especially in the agriculture sector and also the clothing textile, but we do lack participation as young people within those discussions. So us as an organization is one of the things that when we are being involved in the table, we do discuss on behalf of young people how we can accelerate the youth participation of young people. We need to have a very focused agenda on advocating for policies that will accommodate us. For example, there's a bill that needs to be signed by the president, the Procurement Act 2024, which seeks to create opportunities for young people within the value chain of private sector, within the value chain of the state-owned entities. There's a Section 17 or Section 7 that speaks about set-asides, which will bind businesses in this country that they must create opportunities for young people within the value chain, within their procurement processes. Yes, we do have policy frameworks that speaks to us, but that is not enough. Hence, we find that we don't participate within strategic sectors within their value chain. So as young people, we need to have that agenda. In terms of localization and tourism, we need to support local suppliers. We need to buy local products, and we need to ensure that we support our own people without wanting discounts or wanting favors from our people so that they can create a conducive environment within our economy. In terms of the tourism, there are many opportunities in terms of hospitality, the travel services that are there for young people. It's just need that we need to do some research and ensuring that we also sit down with the government on how young people can be creating an opportunity to participate within the tourism sector. I do want to say that in all enterprise development funding that government has, there is a need to ring-fence 30% of that funding. It must be non-negotiable. It must go to young people. And also we need to advocate to ensure that there's a law that holds the private sector accountable to ensure the investment within the private sector, it does go to the youth enterprises, because without us, there's no future of this economy. You can see the trading environment is evolving within the 10 years, and we cannot discuss about the trading environment without young people. I would like to offer my gratitude again to say thank you. I'll be short in this session. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. That was so inspired and inspiring. Thank you, Luyolo and SAYTA, for the strong reflection on the youth and trade and the importance of building a truly conducive environment for young entrepreneurs to thrive. Your insights really do set the perfect foundation for the next part of the program, where the NEF, the National Empowerment Fund, will speak directly to youth-targeted funding opportunities and the practical support available to help young businesses grow locally and beyond our borders. So speaking on behalf of the NEF is Mr. Joel Mpela, an accomplished investment executive with more than 22 years of experience across development finance, private sector, infrastructure and capital markets. Joel oversees the NEF's venture capital and corporate finance division and leads initiatives that directly support youth-led enterprises. Today, he will unpack youth-focused funding instruments. And with that, I say, please welcome Mr. Joel Mpela.
Thank you, Program Director, for the introduction. Let me greet everyone and say good morning. I'll refer you all as colleagues because we are indeed colleagues. It's Entrepreneurship Month, but more importantly, we would like to entrench the entrepreneurship within the youth market, which is important market for our work as a development financier, the NEF. I hope, Program Director, you can see my slides. I'm not gonna reintroduce myself. I've already been introduced. My
Joel,
name in
not
short
as yet. Can we try again? We see you, but not the slides as yet.
Okay, let me try again to share. Just give me a sec. There you go, and I hope it's coming through. I'll put.
Yes,
Can you see? Okay.
we can see now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll go straight into it in the interest of time. The NEF is the only one, agency of government, agency of the DTIC with the mandate, exclusive mandate of, transformation in the country, supporting, Black people in various categories. What youth is one of them that, we are supporting. We are put together, through Act of Parliament that was passed in Parliament many years ago to provide the financial and non-financial support to the businesses in South Africa, as well as promote a culture of saving. Now, in terms of the funding we provide, we start from 250,000 rand all the way to 75 million. We fund startups, we fund expansions, as well as the acquisitions. It has already been mentioned earlier that there's a need for access to capital, and we are here as a NEF extending invitation to all yourselves to say come to NEF, make an application. We are funding. In terms of our financial support, as I mentioned, we start from 250,000 rand all the way to 75 million. This doesn't mean we stop at 75 million. We can also co-fund with other financiers in the market should you have a bigger deal that it's commercially viable and it needs to be funded. So we'll bring our co-funders into the space, and then that transaction can actually be implemented. We are pro-youth. We actually just came back from our board strategy, where it was very clear that we need to make efforts, and initiatives like this, where we actually encourage youth to come into the mainstream of economy. We then plug in with access to funding to say come through and apply the NEF. There is a funding that is available for you, and I'll just make example. So this year alone, we have a budget of 1.5 billion, and we set a target of 15%. So setting such a target, it means then we actually can exceed that 15%. So we are looking forward to interact with some of yourselves, whereby you can apply, be franchises, be procurement financing, be entrepreneurship transactions that you can come across. You actually can come to us, and then we'll be able to assist you to make sure that the economy, as it grows, it is indeed inclusive economy that is not excluding youth, and hence this initiative that we are here today even talking to you to really encourage you to come with ideas, to come with a business that needs to expand. And we are calling you to say there is a funding at the NEF. Come and engage us, and let's see how then that will work, and how can we also support yourselves. We don't stop with only financial interventions. We also provide the non-financial supports. So in terms of our pre-investment, we provide advisory services to our applicants, basically to say this is how you put together a commercially sound and commercially fundable application. We also have a business plan tool online where it asks you questions. As you answer those questions, then it helps you to generate the business plan. We well aware that in the market, it can also be daunting to be putting the business plan. So that business planner tool does help. And it doesn't mean when you used our business planner tool, you have to exclusively only apply at the NEF. You are also welcome to utilize the same business plan to apply anywhere else. It is actually a universal business plan that is being utilized by many around the world. We also provide incubation and entrepreneurial training through our pre-investment. And we don't charge for these services. They are available at the NEF for those that wants to enhance their business models, those that wants to increase their probability of their businesses being funded. And and also we provide the the concessionary funding. We do raise what we call third party funds, where we go around the market, both public and private sector, where we raise cheap capital concessionary funding. And I'll give you an example of what we have currently in the kitty. We do have a manufacturing support fund, which can then lend at a price of 2.5%. So that is unheard of. In the market, any pricing that you come across, it will be prime plus, and we had other private sector, lenders, they will even go as far as prime plus 20%. But we are saying for these targeted interventions and sectors at the NEF, there is a concessionary funding. We also have a tourism fund, which we partnered with the Department of Tourism. The fund there we have up to 5 million as a grant, but we do blend it with the NEF loan and many other partnerships where we unlocked these third-party funds, which can then be accessed at a very much cheaper pricing, even grants to some extent where we are able to raise those grants. And we say once the NEF invested in you, we also provide post-investment support where we sit with you on a monthly basis to go through what is being achieved by the entity, basically going through what was projected versus the actuals. And where there are bigger variances, be revenues or be profits, then we engage on solutions as how then the NEF and yourself can work together to make sure that the business can perform at the right level, to the level that it can actually be able to sustain itself, be able to repay the loans and the debt that maybe you have applied at the NEF and accessed. And as far as this products are concerned, it doesn't stop there. We also have turnaround workouts and restructuring. This is really for deals that maybe perhaps they do not work out, and we don't throw the towel. We work with you to basically turn around the entity to make sure that it can actually be functional, it can be rehabilitated, and also we raise some distress funding, which we deploy in those entities to make sure that those entities can come back and perform. So this is what we provide in terms of the financial and also non-financial support that are available for youth to also access. This slide just breaks down various funds within the NEF. We start with strategic projects funds. Here, what we are saying is that ordinarily in the market, you will see that when it comes to early stage funding, there isn't many that would like to fund at that level. It's a high risk space. But at the NEF, we designed this program to allow project development to fund some of the feasibility studies in the strategic sectors where mainstream commercial lenders are not able to play. Then at the NEF will be able to help with such projects. Such projects will be industrial projects that are seeking high impact in the economy. So we are encouraging you to also look at that where there are massive opportunities that actually can be unlocked at a reasonable cost. So it's a space that we are excited about as a NEF, and we are funding. Now, the second fund is Umnoto Fund. The fund, assists largely with matured, businesses, including some of the brownfields or greenfields, which are backed up by offtake agreements in the market. And this one will then come in. It also does the acquisitions, new ventures, as I mentioned, and other products that are in that space. And then thirdly, we do have Imbeu Fund. Imbeu Fund is our SME fund, where we start from 250,000 rand, and then we fund franchises, procurement or contract financing. We also do entrepreneurship funding. As I highlighted earlier, for this fund in particular, we start from 250,000 rand all the way to 15 million. We also call you to look at that and come and apply at the NEF. We also have the fourth fund, which is Rural Township and Community Development. We've done many projects where communities were given their land back through land restitution. I can give you an example. We funded Josini Lodge in KZN, whereby the lodge is owned by the community. It's also owned by the employees that are working there. They are part of the shareholder schemes. So we are able to intervene at the community level and create, and stimulate economic activity that can take place depending on the nature of the land and also the development that can actually take place on that land. So that's the fund that we are utilizing for that intervention and to unlock opportunities, which you can also look at. And we also designed the Women Empowerment Fund, where we take applications from women. As you know as well, women suffered from race and also gender. So we are also seeking to intervene. And I already mentioned that we are just coming back from our board, where we put a strategy to be intentional and decisive in funding youth. And as I mentioned earlier, that out of the 1.5 billion, there is 15% as a minimum target that needs to be achieved. So there is money at the NEF, open for business and open for all of you to apply. I've already mentioned this non-financial support. I'm not going to dwell into them, but this just give you an idea of the details around the work that we are able to do in support of entrepreneurs like yourselves. The slide here, we just highlight some of the challenges and what we are doing as a NEF to intervene and change the status quo in supporting people like yourselves. We realized that there is a limited own capital in the market. So at the NEF, through this funding, you don't need to have money in order to access this capital. I'm sure you are aware in the mainstream, commercial, banking, before you can actually get that money, they tell you that, you need to have a skin in the game. They tell you that you need to bring 30% or 40% of your own capital before you can be funded. Now, at the NEF, we are saying we are addressing that challenge. We are able to fund you without even you bringing your own money. As long as you bring a viable business that can show sustainability, we will be able to finance you without your own contribution. We also realized that in the market, there is a limited skills, experience in the areas of financial management, marketing, and other technical expertise. Now, I've mentioned that through our non-financial support, we are able to support, entrepreneurs. What I did not mention is that we also have access of mentorships that we bring experts that are in the field, be it in engineering, accounting. So we pay for those services to support the businesses that we are funding into. So that's one of the area that we are also intervening. We also mentioned that there's a challenge in terms of affordable capital in the market. I've already mentioned that through our third-party funds, we are able to raise concessionary funding, which then we can make it available to yourselves. The other challenge that we're coming across is information that we receive from our applicants. Now, at the NEF, as I mentioned, we do have a pre-investment support that we bring, and also the partners that we are partnering with. We are then able to work with entrepreneurs to help them put together that financial information that can actually be utilized to assess their commercial viability, and they can then be able to receive the capital that they are requiring. And we come across business plans that are not complete. that maybe even lack some of the details. So we also, bring that online business plan tool. We also work with our other sister government entities where we can refer some of the applications for reworking, be it a market study, be any enhancement that can then be, done. And then also we realized that there is, a lack of a competition in the market. We realized that main, big businesses normally, they make it difficult for, SMEs to come into the space. Now we are engaging many of these organizations. We started with the oil majors, where we have, signed MOUs with them to make sure that we can actually allow new players to come into the space. And largely, we, often, negotiate offtake agreements for our applicants, through these big conglomerates, big organizations, so that they can enable, new entrants to come through. So that is another space where opportunities are there for young people to come through and, access those markets. As it was earlier even mentioned that there is a problem of access to markets. So through partnerships with NEF, we are able to unlock those markets where young people and many other entrepreneurs can then access, opportunities. And like I said earlier, part of the work that we do, we're able to negotiate offtake agreements, negotiate fundable terms that actually, you can be able to be funded. Because if you don't have, access to market, or you don't have offtake agreements, it's very unlikely that you will get, assistance. So as NEF, we are able to intervene and assist. Now, this slide just highlights some of our broader KPIs where, we are measured on through our principals, ministry, DTIC. So we have to champion transformation, triple BEE as the NEF. We focus on ownership. We would like to see businesses that are owned by Black people. And also we focus on management control and employment equity. Like I mentioned earlier, we then have to see more women coming to in the mainstream as well as youth. And we also get to be, measured on job creation. As it was mentioned earlier, that unemployment rate in the country is very high. As the NEF is the area of our focus, we like to see these businesses that we support, that they create jobs and we can actually lower this unemployment. And also we have a strategy to invest outside Gauteng, Western Cape and KZN. We have a focus in those other provinces that deemed not much economically active, so that development can also happen there. But however, this doesn't mean we don't invest in Gauteng, Western Cape and KZN, but we are saying that we have a focus in other provinces to make sure that opportunities are spread across the 9 provinces. And of course, we need to make a return through the investments that we make, because if we don't make financial sustainability, we'll then not be able to invest going forward. So it's important as you come to us to make sure that your business plan is sound, it's financially viable, and after all, we can also make some money so that we can be able to continue funding. Now, the slide just highlights some of the sectors that we have participated. We have done Black industrialists in many numbers, in big numbers, that we are able to create, over 3,600 jobs. And we put, 4 billion of third-party funding. The funds that I was mentioning earlier that we are able to unlock as the NEF. We also invested in SMEs, small medium enterprises in South Africa across all the 9 provinces. I've already mentioned that we are very strong in supporting townships and rural economy, and would like to do more in those areas. We've done property investments, construction, tourism, affordable housing, student accommodation, agro-processing, and energy. So this just highlights some of the areas where we have invested as the NEF, and we are also encouraging people to invest. This slide just highlights some of our critical milestones achieved, to date. We are saying out of the 10.9 billion invested by NEF, 6.36 billion has been collected. Normally, you hear that Black people are not able to repay, but this slide shows us that Black people are able to borrow, do business, and then repay those facilities. And also, we are saying that we have approved over 1,795 transactions that are worth over 16 billion. This is the money that is approved across the 9 provinces of South Africa, and this just highlight some of the impact that we've made as the NEF. And we are saying that 72% by number, these are deals that emanated from our regions in all the 9 provinces, because we touch all the provinces in South Africa, and we trained over 8,104 entrepreneurs since 2012 across South Africa. This just highlights some of the impact that we are doing on the ground, entrepreneurs that we're interfacing with, and imparting knowledge, imparting skills, and also closing the gaps in the business plans, as I mentioned earlier. And we do have over 21 years of clean external audit, meaning that we are audited by Auditor General, but also getting external audits over a period of 21 years, meaning that we are able to run our books very clean, and hence why we are able to raise capital in the market because of our status in running the books. And then there's a number of jobs that we created out there in the economy. I've already mentioned some of the sectors that we invested in. And also I must highlight that through MTN, we managed to roll out an IPO scheme where Black communities were brought forward to invest and participate in the shareholding of the companies in the JSE. And we are saying out of the 1 billion IPOs, which 87,000 people that participated, 49% of them were Black women across the country. So the slide just highlights some of the work that we've been able to do, the impact that we achieved as the NEF, and we are saying that it doesn't end here. We are calling for more people to come in. We are calling for youth-owned businesses to come and apply at the NEF, so that next time when we report this slide, we can show how well we have done with youth. So we do encourage you to apply at the NEF. The slide just highlights some of the programs looking forward to what we would like to do. We would like to entrench our participation in supporting Black industrialists in various industrial sectors, manufacturing, infrastructure, BPOs, renewable energy. Most of these are new sectors that are out there that, the point of entry, it's affordable. It's even much cheaper because you're not buying expensive companies on the JSE. You can actually start from scratch. You can actually get support by the likes of NEF where the funding is available. We are also looking at the aggregators where we are in the agro sector, where we're working closely with the farmers. We're working with the off-takers to make sure that the farmers, when they come in, they can then be supported with access to market. And of course, NEF will come with the capital so that we can unlock the opportunities. And we are also extending an invitation to yourself. And we also are looking at the green economy, the renewable energy, that is, it's a buzzword in South Africa at the moment. As you are aware, we need to decarbonize the economy. We need electric vehicles to come in the mainstream. We would like to see, battery storage, capacity being built. So those are some of the opportunities that we are highlighting, that they are available for you to look at, research, come up with ideas, come up with solutions, come up with proposals that are commercially viable, then you will receive funding. We are also looking at the digital economy, where we look for solutions. We are partnering with the likes of NASPAS to support some of the digital businesses. And we are encouraging people like yourselves to come through, research, propose and make funding proposals that we can be able to assist. And we are also saying SMEs are in the core of what we are doing. So these are some of the programs that we are supporting as the NEF. We also have a program, which is the last program, to support the beneficiation of our culture, that through TVs, through media, through broadcasting, let's go to market, let's tell our South African story, and the NEF is here to support. Program Director, I'm mindful of the time. I'm concluding shortly, just 1 minute. Now, The slide here, colleagues, just highlight that these are some of our partners. I've already mentioned that we can be able to raise capital from both public and private sector. So the slide just gives you a view of who are those that we've partnered with. And of course, next time when we report, hopefully the slide will be fully populated to show that we are on the road, mobilizing capital so that youth-owned businesses can then apply and access capital. As you can see, these are funders. Some of them, they are off-takers that we are partnering with to unlock opportunities for Black business, including women and youth. Program Director, let me leave it here. Thank you very much. I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, Joel. I don't know about the rest of the people listening in, but that is very encouraging coming from the NEF. We now explore opportunities in the green economy, one of the fastest growing sectors globally, and a space where young South Africans are increasingly carving out a future. Our next speaker is Ms. Viaksha Mohabir. Excuse me, Mohabir, please, and please correct me in terms of how to pronounce your name. You are the technical advisor for energy at the German Development Corporation and the global lead for Women in Green Hydrogen Africa. Ms. Mohabir is an energy specialist with deep experience in renewable energy, green hydrogen, climate change, and sustainability. She will guide us through the green economy opportunities and the role of youth in South Africa's transition towards inclusive and sustainable energy systems. Please welcome Ms. Viaksha Mohabir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, 100% correct. It is Viaksha Mohabir. Thank you everyone for joining today, and thank you for having me here. I think before I begin, let me briefly explain who I am representing and what work we do. I work for GIZ, that's the German Development Corporation. GIZ is an international organization that works on behalf of the German federal government and partners with different governments around the world to provide technical expertise, research, training, and pilot projects that help countries develop sustainably. In South Africa, we work closely with the Department of Electricity and Energy, and other key government departments and different communities on topics such as renewable energy, energy efficiency, climate change, and the more recently, the green hydrogen and battery value chain topics. And our goal is really to help build a strong, inclusive, and low carbon economy, not by replacing local institutions, but rather strengthening them and supporting local capabilities. I don't have a presentation. Just to ensure that I don't go over time. And also with the green economy sector, specifically the energy sector, it can be very technical. So I'm trying not to be too technical and really give you a highlight of what the opportunities lie in the energy sector and the green economy. And it's important to note as I speak that you do not have to be an engineer, you do not have to have any technical expertise to take advantage of some of the opportunities that are available to you. So with that in context, I want to talk to you today about what the green economy means for South Africa and where the practical opportunities lie for young entrepreneurs like yourself. So like I said, it's not about giving you a technical lecture. It's really about giving you a clear picture of how the space is changing and where you can realistically participate. To start, I'm sure a lot of you have heard the word the just transition. So I'll explain to you what the just transition is, because this sits at the core of South Africa's long-term energy plans. For many decades, our country has relied heavily on coal, not only for electricity, but also for employment in certain towns. I mean, I come from one of the towns in northern KwaZulu-Natal that was a coal mining town, and a lot of the mines have closed down, leaving me, not me, leaving my family around me, family and friends without jobs, and the economy collapsed. So as the world moves towards cleaner forms of energy, coal will gradually play a smaller role. So the just transition is the plan to manage that shift in a responsible and fair way. It includes things like retraining workers, supporting coal-dependent communities, developing new industries, and preventing economic decline in regions that rely heavily on mining. So the idea is simple. So we don't want to shut. We need to ensure that when we shut one door, we need to start preparing another. And one of the most important areas currently shaping South Africa's energy and industrial future is green hydrogen. And I know hydrogen can sound very scientific and technical, but it's simply a clean fuel that we produce with no pollution, and really only water vapor comes out of this. And why we call it green hydrogen, it's green. There's different colors of hydrogen, but green hydrogen refers to us making it purely from renewable energy. So hydrogen is basically taking water and splitting the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using technologies called an electrolyzer. And this hydrogen fuel is important because in some of the industries like steel making, heavy trucking, shipping, and even chemicals and fertilizers, within these industries, we cannot easily switch to electricity. So we need something cleaner to decarbonize. And so hydrogen is one of the strongest global options that's pretty much trending at the moment. So why why hydrogen? Specifically in the South African context, South Africa is well placed to take advantage of the shift. Our country has some of the best solar and wind resources, and as I mentioned just now, in order to make green hydrogen, it has to be produced from renewable and solar. So this makes green hydrogen production a little cheaper in South Africa as compared to other places around the world. And another element, and I know our previous speakers have also spoken to this, is that we have some of the key critical raw materials or key minerals in South Africa, like platinum, manganese, nickel, chromium, and these are needed to make the equipment used in some of these hydrogen technologies as well as batteries. So batteries are important not just for electric vehicles, but also for storing energy or electricity that is made from renewable energy. So we have the critical raw materials, specifically platinum. Platinum goes into these electrolyzers and fuel cells, and manganese as well is essential for the battery value chain. We also have nickel and chromium, which are used in special steels and alloys that make hydrogen equipment strong and durable. So we did a recent study, which I will pop the link into the chat. And in fact, I'll pop all the resources that we've developed, some focusing on localization as well and local beneficiation. So a recent study we completed looked closely at how these minerals support the green hydrogen economy in South Africa. And the findings confirm that South Africa has a genuine competitive advantage, but only if we move past simply exporting raw minerals. I often call it the China model. We export these raw materials to China and then we buy the product back, or bring the product back into South Africa. So there's a need for us to add value addition to beneficiate these raw materials, because the real economic value lies in processing these materials locally, manufacturing components, and developing services that support hydrogen and battery projects and other green economy topics in South Africa, like renewable energy. So that's where young entrepreneurs can become quite important. This also means that future hydrogen production zones or industrial hubs will rely heavily on local suppliers. Already in the industry, if you go to some of the development banks to get capital and funding, they focus, there's an important element of local entrepreneurs and small businesses and local employment, especially for the youth and women in the country. So they will need small businesses that can provide everything from basic tools to advanced support services. In countries that are already scaling up hydrogen and batteries and renewable energy, the sector grew fastest from where your small and medium enterprises were supported as early as possible in these upcoming industries. And so South Africa plans to take the same approach, and young entrepreneurs who position themselves will now have a better chance of entering these supply chains. Another useful point to mention is funding. So like I said, many clean energy projects attract local and international financing, But these funds often come with requirements such as local suppliers, creating jobs, or providing community benefits. Because a lot of the renewable energy projects, the green hydrogen projects, or even where there's proposed plans to beneficiate materials or minerals for the battery value chain. These are often built around communities. And so your development banks and your project developers are really looking to partner with local suppliers and ensure that the jobs are created locally. So it's important that businesses are formally registered, organized, and reliable, to secure some of these contracts when these opportunities arise. So maybe just to break down what this means in practice, using a hydrogen example, before a green hydrogen project even begins, right? Construction companies need things like environmental studies, water use plans, community consultations, mapping, and even logistics. And these activities rely on your smaller businesses in environmental services and logistics and digital mapping and even communication support. To undertake these activities during the project preparation or project before even the construction starts. And then you get to the next phase during construction where the demand becomes more varied. There's work for contractors like welders, plumbers, electricians, drivers, equipment suppliers. At the same time, when construction takes place, there's also everyday services that come into to play, like your catering, cleaning, accommodation, and transport becomes very essential. So these are roles that don't require just general green economy expertise or energy expertise. So you don't have to be an engineer to be part of the green economy value chain. They just require reliability and the ability to meet project needs. So once these facilities are running, there's also long-term demand for packaging suppliers, lab testing, maintenance teams, also quality control specialists, and a very important gap that we have now are training providers. So many small businesses build stable income streams through these type of support functions. Then there's another buzzword that's being used as well alongside renewable energy is what they call the circular economy. So the circular economy is basically ensuring that recycling and recovering of materials take place at every step of the value chain to reduce waste. So there's a major gap in South Africa. So we often speak about cradle to grave for a product, but there's a need for us to ensure that when we manage a product, we look at it from cradle to cradle approach. So really shifting away from your linear model to a more circular model. So an example of this is battery recycling. So again, the previous speaker spoke about the battery value chain as well, and there's a huge demand for batteries, lithium batteries in South Africa, for example, for EVs as well as battery energy storage. But what happens to these batteries once they are done? So there's a need for us to recycle these batteries and scrap, as well as scrap metal recovery, as well as e-waste processing, and there's a need to handle this waste responsibly. So there's a huge recycling gap in South Africa, and these activities need logistic companies to put together sorting sites and safety professionals and small processing units. So this is an area with strong potential for new entrepreneurs. I know we often see the recycling guys on pulling those big carts on the street, the informal recyclers, and they play a major role in the circular economy. And that's just one of the examples in South Africa where it gets as basic as that, as sorting your materials for recycling purposes. Then we also have digital services in the green economy, which is becoming more and more increasingly important as technology is improving, because projects often require things like drone surveys and GIS mapping. So GIS mapping is your geological information system mapping, monitoring apps, and online training tools. And these kind of services usually come from, your younger tech-savvy small businesses rather than your large corporations. So all of this connects to the importance of buying local. I think, it's important to iterate that a strong economy can't be built on imported services alone. Local suppliers create jobs and they help keep value in the country. So organizations like the National Empowerment Fund and Proudly South African support this shift by helping entrepreneurs access resources and visibility. So the more we the more we build local supply chains, the stronger and more stable our economy becomes. So if you try to understand where we fit, you don't need to be highly technical to participate in the green economy. What you need is really, clear understanding of where the services, of the services that major projects rely on, and a willingness to develop those capabilities, and also to be more aware of what exists in the green economy or where the gaps are in the green economy, because the sector supports everything from hospitality to construction to digital design to health and safety. So your entry point depends on your skills and your interests. So as South Africa moves towards, cleaner energy, it's not really, I know we often talk about clean energy, renewable energy, the green economy, and we feel like it's far away, but it's not a far off idea. It's already shaping industries, it's already changing supply chains and creating concrete business needs. The key is recognizing these needs early and preparing to meet them, because different skills, different backgrounds, and different types of businesses can all find space in what we call the just transition. And I will stop there from my side. Unfortunately, I will have to jump out after the session, but I will drop my email address as well as the link to the resources we have under the Green Hydrogen Program, which focuses on a lot of the studies that we do, including local beneficiation as well as and localization of products in the green hydrogen sector. So thank you so much, and thank you for the organizing team for having me here as well.
Thank you very much, Vyaksha. Can I just ask, just in the interest of time, that the presenters also address some of the questions that are asked there in the Q&A chat box. Just to save a bit of time, please feel free to respond to some of those questions. I know there was a question for SAYTA, and there's some questions there for the NEF as well, and Proudly South Africa. So if we can have that happening also at the same time. But thank you once again. So we're moving now from opportunities to skills. Our next segment looks at the NEF's Entrepreneurship Training Program, a national program designed to build capability, strengthen early stage ventures, and help entrepreneurs become investment ready. Presenting this segment is Ms. Mpumi Majola, the NEF's Pre-Investment Manager. Mpumi leads the NEF's National SME Development Strategy, overseeing incubation, mentorship, business readiness tools, and the online business planner. Her work has empowered thousands of young township and rural entrepreneurs. Today, she will walk you through the training, incubation, and funding journey. Please welcome Ms. Mpumi Majola and colleagues at the NEF.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Mpumi. We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mpumi Majola, as been mentioned by our facilitator. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to take you through the products and services that we have at the NEF. So I will start with our mandate.
Sorry, Mpumi, you've just muted yourself there. Just press
Thank you.
There we go.
Yes, no, thank you, Tikato. I was just taking you through my first slide of the presentation to let me mute
Hi, Mpumi, I'm not sure if you're aware, you are on mute.
Thank you, Tikato. I was aware. I was sorting myself out somehow. My slides were a bit messed up. Sorry for that.
Awesome, thank
I
you.
will be taking you through my presentation where I am telling you about our non-financial supports. As the NEF, we are indeed regulated by the NEF mandate, where we are supposed to be a driver and the thought leader in promoting and facilitating the Black economic empowerment through our financial and non-financial support. It is indeed important that we also note that we are the DTIC agency, and we are the only agency that has been exclusively mandated to grow the triple BE. As the NEF, we were looking at our strategic outcome-oriented goals. So before we can even think about our non-financial support, we had to actually look at what we were mandated to do as an organization. So we were there to actually making sure that we provide financial support, and we do that by funding businesses. We are also expected to be creating and invest in making sure that these jobs are created from our enterprises that we are funding, and making sure that we target the Black empowered businesses. We are also promoting inclusivity on the participation in the economy. And there we are looking at our Black women, we are looking at our youth, we are looking at our people living with disability, and we are making sure that they are included in participating in our economy. We are also looking at our township and rural economy, because those are the areas that have been underserved, and we are trying to make sure that there is some sort of recognition that we do in such areas as the National Empowerment Fund. And we are also expected to make sure that we are everywhere, hence they are calling us the National Empowerment Fund. We must have investment across all the provinces in South Africa. We are also looking at advancing commercial sustainable empowerment, in making sure that we foster Black economic empowerment through viable and sustainable enterprises, and also to make sure that the businesses that we are building are sustainable. So as we are doing that, we were then requested by our board, or our then board, to come up with an SMME strategy, in making sure that, given what we are supposed to do as our core, how do we then try and enhance and improve the assistance that we give to our Black entrepreneurs. We then came up with simulated entrepreneurial training. We came up with business incubation. We came up with the business plan toolkit. So all of this was developed to make sure that we are addressing the specific gaps that has been identified as we were assessing the applications we're receiving in the National Empowerment Fund. Most of the applications that we're actually receiving, you will see that the high number of these applications are being received by the NEF, but the approval remains very low. So we had to come up with ways on making sure that we're getting the conversion rates on the applications that we're receiving. Very low approvals we were getting from the applications that we were getting. And in most cases, you'll find that Black entrepreneurs know what they want to do, but they are lacking business skills. They are lacking how to then put together their business plans, in making sure that they've got a strong case of the business that they're trying to get into. We were also looking at the high failure of the startup businesses that we are getting. So we had some research that we did, trying to understand why are we getting such a high failure of startup business. Not just as the NEF, even if you're going through the banks, that's what you'll actually get, that most of the startup businesses fail at an initial stage. And then the other issue was also the access to finance to these small businesses. It still remains a very significant challenge. So these were the interventions that we went through, and we wanted to address the gaps when we were coming up with non-financial supports as the NEF. So first initiatives that we came up with as the NEF was the entrepreneurial training. So our entrepreneurial training is one of the cornerstones of our non-financial support, which is aiming and making sure that we are strengthening the capabilities of our SMMEs, and we are also making sure that we prepare them to be ready for funding. So since we have started this program, we have partnered with experienced service providers, people who have been in the industry, and people who know what needs to be done in making sure that we build our small businesses. So with this approach, it ensured that the program benefits our entrepreneurs, and it gives us efficient delivery mechanisms in running the businesses that will be sustainable at the end. In recognizing the strategy importance of the entrepreneurial training, we then making sure that we need to enhance it and align it with our key performance areas as the NEF, and we had to make sure that this creation gets our SMMEs ready. We are creating the jobs. We are increasing support of our businesses, especially the women-owned businesses and youth and the people that are living with disabilities. So we came up with modules that we felt that will assist our entrepreneurs in running the businesses. So when you attend our entrepreneurial training, we will be looking at the entrepreneurial mindset, the business model. So what mindset are you at? What business model are you coming with? And then we start enhancing that. And the nicest thing with our entrepreneurial training is that you are actually learning about your business as you are running it. So it's not just a generic view of how to run a business, but we're looking at how your business is looking like and how can we then, as the National Empowerment Fund, working with our service provider, making sure that you understand you've got the right mindset for your business. We look at the market research, the go-to marketing strategy. How are you marketing your business? What research are you doing? Who are you targeting? Do you know your target market? How does that work? We look at the costing. At most you'll find people are running businesses and they're not making any profits because the costing is not the costing they should be doing. So we teach you how to then do the costing in your business and making sure that it end up creating revenues that are best for your business. We're looking at financial literacy. People run businesses, but they don't understand the financial literacy on their businesses. You'll be asking a person, do you have a business bank account? And a person says, no, I've got a bank account that I opened while I was still at school. I'm using that to run my businesses. And that should not be the case. If you are running a business, you must be having a business account and you must be having a salary as a business owner. You can't just keep on drawing in your business, not even knowing what are you drawing it for, and you end up not knowing how much your business is doing. We look at funding readiness. How do you actually raise the funds? Once we have trained you, are you ready for funding? Should we then be taking you to funding applications, or should we be taking you to other programs that we can be doing as the NEF to improve and empower you to run your businesses? We are an empowerment organization, so we will keep on trying to do better in terms of empowering our entrepreneurs. We look at operations. Are you fully operational in your business, or you are just sitting at home and you are remotely running your business? Then we try to teach you on how to become fully operational and getting the best quality in your business. We're looking at the people that you bring on your businesses, the compliances around your business. Are you complied? Do you have right contracts? Your negotiation skills. We look at the risk management, the business continuity. We don't want to build businesses, come 2 years, the businesses are not there. We are trying to make sure that there is continuity. We're looking at digital enablement. These days, technology is one thing that is happening. So if you are not technology advanced, then you will not be able to run your business. So it's one of the things that we are now looking at, that do you know how to deal with the technology that keeps on revolving around your space of business? We're looking at your key performance indicators. What makes your business tick? What is it that you need to make sure that you've reached in your business? Once all of that is done, We will then have pitching sessions. You're telling us a story. This is where I've started. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to become. So when we do those things, we don't just do them as the NEF, but we invite other funders as well. We invite other stakeholders that we work with so that at least you get the vast of knowledge and experience. By the time you are out of the pitching session, you know exactly what needs to do. And some of the entrepreneurs that attend our pitching sessions after attending the training, they actually go out there with funding, because there will be a funding institution that will be saying, oh, wow, I like this idea, and can we talk on the side, because it's something that we would like to look at. So these are the things that we try and organize. We don't just do these things because we want to tick boxes, but we want to do these things because we want to handhold and make sure that our entrepreneurs don't just attend these trainings and then it ends out there. We also go back, because we do have mentorship around our training. We also go back and try to find out on where are you. This is where we've started. So now, what is it that you are doing? Are you growing? Do you need any assistance? Yes, at some instance, some of our entrepreneurs will not come back to us and tell us their stories, but others do come back and tell us their stories. And when they do that, we are also able to showcase them when we have exhibitions or when we have visitors from different places who wants to know what we have done with our non-financial support. We are able to showcase them. When we are looking at our overview as the National Empowerment Fund, you will then understand that we have the highly qualified 100% Black-owned service providers that actually deliver our entrepreneurial training. We are not just talking about empowering Black people, but we walk the talk. When we look at the service providers, we make sure that we look, because we know that with our Black communities, we do have people that are skilled and know what they are doing. So when we look for the service providers, we also look for the Black owned service providers so that they are able to actually tell the story and they understand the journeys that our entrepreneurs have gone through. From inception, we have done over 10,000 trainings across South Africa, and our training gets to be delivered over 6 to 10 weeks. So it depends on the entrepreneurs or the sector requirements. So if you're a startup, normally it takes longer because there's a whole lot of things that needs to be done. But if you are an already existing business, then we take like 6 weeks, and you don't attend our training every day. It's only once a week. And then after that, you sit with the mentor. You set up times in between to sit with the mentor and go through what you need assistance on your business. 42% of the people that we have trained have actually received funding from the NEF. Some of them have come to the NEF in the process. Some have actually received funding from the NEF. So we don't just train and say you will see yourself to finish. We are creating a pipeline also for the National Empowerment Fund when we're doing these things. Our mentorship program has shown excellent results. People really need to be mentored. So we've got mentorship from pre and the mentorship from post when you are funded by the NEF. So we try to do it both. We mentor you to make sure that you build your business, you package your business accordingly. And then once you've done that, you apply the NEF, you get funding. We still mentor you. We don't just say, we've funded you, we are leaving you, you'll see to finish. We still try to see where the gaps are, and from those gaps, we want to assist you as well. Over and above the training that we do, we also do business incubation, because some of the people, once you've trained, you find that they don't have a place to work to. They're working from home, maybe they've got a garage or at your lounge, you're sitting there, and now we've created an entrepreneur that is professional and know what they're doing. So if you want to have meetings and you want the investors to come to your business, you need to have a proper place of business. So from there, this is when then we take you to our incubation centers, because we work with different incubation centers. And this is done actually to drive the pipeline for our funds. You know that with our funds, we will do business development, but incubation is also part of the business development, because once you have incubated, you get all the proper training and support to be able to come and get funding from the NEF or any other funding institution for that matter. And this also, it makes us to identify identify the supports that our businesses need. And then we create that environment to promote growth and making sure that the business that we are doing, that we are incubating are growing. We also refer our incubated businesses to different funders, whether it's public or private. Once we work together with you, then we know where you will be getting assistance. And then from that assistance, we are able to then refer you. We also track and evaluate the number of jobs that we've created. If you started with one person, we want to see growth because now you have been empowered. We're expecting you to empower other people as well. So we track that information because it's one of the things that we report on as the pre-investment unit at the National Empowerment Fund. We work with different stakeholders as well. We've got our internal stakeholders, which our funds, your Imbewu, your Mnoto, your rural. Those are the people when they assessing applications. Like I've said before, we don't just say you've applied at the NEF, we decline you, it's finished and clear. No, when we decline you, we still try and see what were the reasons for decline. Is it something that we can look at as part of our non-financial support? So from those declined applications, we are able to draw the number of candidates that we could be taking, whether for incubation or training or both, so that we are able to assist you to package your business to come back to us and get the funding. And then we've got our external partners as well, where we work with the Department of Trade and Industry, where they make sure that they are assisting us in terms of regulations that you need to have and understand in your business. We've got your CIPC, where you register your business or you're making sure that regulations are complied with, or anything that you need on the commission to run your businesses. We've got your SAYTA as well, where they make sure that you've got all the information that is necessary. There are grants that are available as well. We assist you in making sure that you're getting your grants. And then we work with the various incubation centers. We are the ones who actually introduce you to these incubation centers. We take your details and take them there. And our incubation centers, others are generic, others are sector specific. If you're doing furniture, we will take you to Fentech, because then we know that they will assist you in making sure that your furniture is created. You don't even have to go buy machinery because it's already offered there. So whilst you are still trying to put your business together, there is machinery that is out there to assist you in making sure that you're running your businesses. We've got your River Sands Hub. If you are in agriculture, they are able to house you there. If you are in catering, they are able to house you there, and making sure that there is industrial kitchens that you're using there. You are able to carry your business the way it's supposed to be carried. And these partnerships really play a very crucial role in enhancing business profiles that we have, and making sure that our entrepreneurs are better prepared for funding opportunities that are out there for them. And then with the challenges that we've seen, most of the people who come to the NEF, they will want 75 million and bring a one-pager business plan. And then they will say, I've paid 20,000 for this business plan through a consultant. Then we decided that maybe we need to create a business plan tool, because who better knows your business than yourself? So if you do your own business from our business plan tool, even if you decide that you want to go to a consultant to write your business plan, they will be using something that you've done already, because most of the business plan that we've been getting, you'll find that it's a cut and paste, because business consultants, they just use one business plan and then they do cut and pasting, and you find that we're not funding you, or any other institution doesn't fund you, because they don't understand what is written there. And now you don't understand why you're doing that, because you've paid a huge amount of money. So the best way is to create your own business plan, because this is your baby, this is your business, you need to understand it. We then launched our business plan tool in August 2009, in making sure that our entrepreneurs are developing their own business plan. And there is also a financial projection model that actually assists you, even if you're not an accountant, to actually understand how do you then put together your financials as a business person. Our business planner toolkit is web-based. It is free. It's user-friendly. and it's accessible from any nationwide platform. You can go to our website as well. There's a link there. You can use our link and create your business plan. It also have a help function that is in all 9 official languages. So if there's something that you don't understand, you can even write it in your language. Then it will tell you in English on what that is. And once you've done your business plan, even if you did it in your language, once you've done it, it's able to match and write it in English in a document that you can take anywhere you want to get funding. And we are not forcing people to come to the NEF as much as we would like to get these applications. But if you feel that I've used the business planner tool, but I don't want to go apply at the NEF, you can take it anywhere you want to take it. This is designed to foster a culture of independence as well as a business person. We can't always depend on consultants to do things for us. You must be able to plan your things. You must be able to improve the quality and the quantity of how you're doing. At the same time, it's also helping us with the deed flow that is submitted to the NEF. As I've said, once you've completed, you are not obliged to come to us. You can go anywhere else to approach those people to give you funding. This is what we do as the NEF as part of non-financial supports, and we keep on trying to evolve and enhance and grow in terms of what we provide. And as we go out there, try to assist our entrepreneurs in terms of what can we do to assist you to be ready for funding and to grow your business. We come back and we try to put it together. So we are also learning and growing as we move along. We always make sure that we have our lessons learned, because those are the things that will make us grow and make sure that we end up assisting our entrepreneurs. And what we are trying to do now, we are trying to make sure that every entrepreneur that we go to, we have ring-fenced some sort of funds that will then assist us to make sure that we give you a seat to start as you are looking for assistance anywhere else or even within our funds. So we will always handhold our entrepreneurs in making sure that they do better. It's not easy, I understand, and the information that we look for at times, it's not easy, but I always say, if you listen and you work with us, you will get the desired outcome on what you want to get from the National Empowerment Fund. Thank you very much. I will end there.
Shoo, thank you so much, Ms. Majola. That was very, very informative. And I really hope that the audience also found it very informative. There was a question that I picked up. Maybe you can just respond to it in the chat around when the entrepreneurial training will take place. Maybe when you just get a moment, you can respond to that. But just back to the webinar, we will now move to a short testimonial. I mean, what better way to understand impact than to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So we're going to share with you a video by one of our entrepreneurs. If you just give us a moment to show that. I am having some challenges here. Maybe just in the interest of time, instead of going to the NEF testimonial, let's move to the Proudly South Africa testimonial. We have there Ms. Tanielle from Twiza that will be talking to us now. I hope you're ready and can come in. That is Tanielle Johns, Chief Human Resource Officer from Twiza. She's a seasoned HR executive, organizational development strategist, and transformation leader who has worked across major FMCG and manufacturing brands. Today, she will share lessons from Twiza's localization journey, job creation insights, and advice for young entrepreneurs on building sustainable local businesses. Please welcome Danielle Johns.
Thank you, Dikatso, and good afternoon. Well, sorry, good morning, everyone. I just want to see whether you can see my screen and you can hear me okay.
Yes, we can hear you and we see your screen. Thanks, Danielle.
Awesome. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is quite an honor for me to be part of today's program, which is such a beautiful platform designed to empower the next generation of our local entrepreneurs. What I'd like to start off with before I take you through Twiza as a business is the proudly South African story. And this is a story of someone who didn't wait for perfect conditions, who didn't inherit a multinational empire, and didn't have investors lined up. He had a dream, a small team that made it happen, and a deep belief in local communities. And that person is Ken Clark, who's the founder of Twiza. He's also a young man from Queenstown or Komani in the Eastern Cape, like I said, who didn't have much. He had the courage to believe that South Africa could create world-class products through his distribution experience in a smaller business called Crickley Dairy. He saw an opportunity others didn't. If global corporates like Coca-Cola and Pepsi could create and build beverage empires, why couldn't a South African family do the same? And so in 2003, Twiza was born, not from wealth, but from entrepreneurial bravery. And it's also a story of legacy. So Ken has passed on this baton to the next generation, who is Lyle Clark, who started as an executive assistant in the business and worked his way through operations, HR, and marketing before becoming our chief executive officer. And this is important for some of the young entrepreneurs that are on the call today. I think success isn't always inherited. It's built step by step. And when you build with values, you can hand it over proudly. And so our proudly South African dream, or Twiza's dream, is always been simple and always been bold. We have a dream to become South Africa's #1 local beverage partner. That means for us, not the biggest global competitor, not the cheapest product on the shelf either, but the most trusted local partner, created by South Africans, produced by South Africans, and consumed proudly by South Africans. This dream started, like I said, in a small town in the Eastern Cape. I saw in some of the comments that there were questions around investment into the rural communities. Long before we had factories or we had trucks or national distribution, this started in a young entrepreneur's heart, in a rural community as well. And so what makes Twiza a local success story is that it wasn't built in those big metros first. It was built in small towns where young people often feel opportunities are limited. And the growth of our business has been categorized by investment into the beverage manufacturing technology ahead of the local markets across 3 key time periods. So what initially started out as a distribution venture off the back of our retail route to market in Crickley Dairy soon became the purchase of the Twiza brand and investment into a 2,000 bottling plant in Queenstown. We followed that up with upgrades, and today the 6,000 bottle per hour blower is used in the dairy business, and the 18,000 blower per hour line is currently being used. And we also have a 23,000 bottle per hour line in Queenstown. This is supported by 2 injection molding machines. So we heard from earlier speakers around, the raw materials and sourcing those. So at Twiza, we prioritize owning the value chain, meaning we make the plastic bottles, and we make the caps. And in 2011, we invested into Greenfields manufacturing facility in Middelburg, again, not a metro, but a smaller town, to support the growth of Twiza into the Northwest and the Limpopo markets. And today we have 2 30,000 bottle per hour lines installed here, as well as 2 injectors and 1 capping machine. In 2015, our growth into the Cape saw us purchasing an old Cross and Blackwell facility from Tiger Brands in Bellville which is where we currently are based as a head office. And we have almost 20,000 square meters under one roof. We have a world-class manufacturing PET line, which is the plastic, and then 30,000 can per hour canning line. We also have a liquor license for manufacturing and distribution, and that forms part of our value to some neighboring businesses as well. So fast forward to today, Twiza is one of the most advanced beverage manufacturers in the country. We employ up to 1,000 employees across Twiza, as well as Crickley Dairy, and we have high-speed lines in Queenstown, Cape Town, and Middelburg. But none of this, as you've seen, happened overnight. It started with a young entrepreneur who trusted his people and invested ahead of the curve. So investment in owning that value chain, like I said, we promote buying local and we promote supporting local because that's what generates value for our communities. And for the young founders that are on this webinar today, don't be afraid to invest in your capabilities, even if you're not big yet. Capability is what drives and gives local businesses the power to compete. And today, also, one of Twiza's proudest achievements is being trusted by South Africa's biggest retailers, from Spar and recently Shoprite. So these didn't come from luck. It came from consistency. It came from being able to provide reliable and quality products. And it came from being able to stay true to our local communities. We heard earlier about the priorities of the Proudly South African network. Retailers want partners who deliver, not sometimes, but always. And your brand is what gives them that assurance. Today, Twiza also moves products across the country through a very powerful distribution network, primary, secondary, as well as third-party distributors. But again, this scale didn't start small. Ken started by delivering products himself. And often entrepreneurship is hands-on until it can be handed over. And so over the past 20 years, we have transitioned from an entrepreneurial startup to a professionally run family business, where we see Twiza as the first officially proudly South African soft drink brand. We are a responsible member of Petco and a leading and 4-time certified top employer. We are halal certified as well as FSSC accredited. And these achievements just show that local brands like Twiza can in fact operate and compete at global standards against giants like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Being local isn't a limitation for us. It's a responsibility, and it's what gives us a competitive edge. And we've always believed in uplifting the communities that help to build us. We've invested in sports, grassroots developments, entrepreneurship, and anti-GBV initiatives, because business is not only something that operates in isolation. You're only as strong as the communities that you serve. And so we look at some of our sponsorship through sports initiatives. At an influencer level, we are proud to have had previously Mapimpi as a brand ambassador. His face was previously on one of our energy cans, but we were also one of the first contributors to his foundation that looks to support grassroots developments and the fight against GBV. And lastly, we look at how we've developed from small town, Queenstown, to securing some pouring rights at DHL Stadium previously. So this is proof that local businesses can also stand on these big stages. Over the past year and a half, we've also sort of redirected our marketing campaigns to be more consumer focused, looking to support and build the communities where we feel value. So these campaigns, grocery vouchers, bonuses, Twiza Me Home, these are all community upliftment stories that speak to real South African realities, because entrepreneurship is not only about profits, it's also about impact. These initiatives gave us a glimpse into the tough realities facing many South Africans, but they served as an inspiring story of resilience and determination. We've invested heavily behind the entrepreneurial spirit that drives and lives in all of us, to the point that we also focus our entrepreneurial efforts internally. We have what we call a Flavor Your Future campaigns, where we look to prioritize recruitment efforts directed to Gen Z and youth in South Africa. If you're you're interested, you're welcome to refer to our career page. I've left the website on the screen. We have available opportunities not only for youth, for persons with disabilities, and we really look to celebrate and recognize innovation and entrepreneurship in everything that we do. Including our most recent efforts, which was a Power of One Innovation Challenge, and it helped employees form teams to really brainstorm solutions to real business problems, because one small idea can really have a big impact, and we believe that. I'm drawing to a close now, Dikatso. As we arrive at the heart of the Twiza story, which is our values, because this is what I would like all of the entrepreneurs to take away from today. These aren't just corporate values, they are entrepreneurial values. Ken Clark built Twiza on trust. Trust in his people, trust in community, trust in possibility. He built with professionalism long before he had the resources. Passion kept the business alive when the numbers said stop. Innovation allowed a small business brand to stand among giants, and growing together built our teams, our communities, and it's building our future. And playing to win meant believing that a rural-based entrepreneur deserved a seat at a national table. And so if you build your business with values, you build a business that doesn't just grow, you build a business that matters. And so in closing, my message to all the young entrepreneurs today is, you don't need perfection to start. You don't need permission to succeed. You need courage, you need community, and you need values that anchor you. And for me today, perhaps investment for you means investing in your own capability. We're seeing a surge of advancements from an AI perspective, and we're looking at the NFF saying that they're wanting you to give credible business insights and ideas so that they can support you with funding. I encourage you to make use of AI as a thinking partner to try and frame your ideas in a way that business is able to take it seriously. So as you continue to build your own dreams, I encourage you, build proudly, build locally, and build with purpose. And I believe that one day your story will also inspire the next generation, just as Ken has inspired us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Johns. I'm going to try this one last time and see if it does work out for us, and play this video.
My name is Katlego Mashila. I am the CEO and founder of ASEMB. ASEMB is a local manufacturing company in Seshego, in the Seshego industrial site in Polokwane, Limpopo. We manufacture wired nails. It's mainly for construction in timber on the roofing, and we aim to manufacture fencing, Clearview fencing, diamond mesh, and welded fence. ASEMB started in 2019. I found the machine in my dad's warehouse. He wasn't really using it, and I asked, "What is it for?" He said, "It makes nails." And I started gaining curiosity on the industry of nails, and started doing research from my dad himself and from internet, and then I realized what the business model needs, and we needed more equipment, we needed full functionality, and that required funds, and so we looked into different funding institutions, and we found NEF. NEF responded and showed an interest in us. When we applied for the NEF application, we sent all the requirements, all the missing documents that we didn't have, they got back to us. We sent it, they got replied. Every time you ask for progress, they give you progress, and they were very efficient, and then their due diligence process was very accurate, and they required documents for professionalism, and it really showed that NEF is a serious institution, and they did offer to support the business in in so many ways. The NEF funding has helped me through, it hasn't only helped me, it has helped the whole company through, we're gonna be able to employ more people locally. We're gonna employ more women, youth. The NEF has gotten us more machinery. They've gotten us tools to keep efficiency, like they got us a car, they got us a forklift to carry heavy machinery, heavy material, and they've got us a machine to make fencing that gives a new opportunity to employ more people, mainly women and youth. We prioritize on that for empowerment as well. We aim to empower small construction companies around to use our fencing products, to use our nails when they do projects. And also with the factory, the bigger factory that we're now operating. My advice to aspiring entrepreneurs is that to start on a small scale. Start on a small scale so that you can see and learn everything that happens in your business, so you can know what needs changing. If it's on a small scale, you can change things on a small scale, and once you have it all figured out, then now you can start growing. It's easier like that. Mlayeto for national empowerment.
I think I stopped that video too soon, but nonetheless, I just want to say to everybody, thank you, young entrepreneurs, speakers, colleagues across the country. Thank you for spending this morning with us. Today, we explored funding pathways for youth, local procurement and buy local opportunities, global trade and market access, green economy and high growth sectors, entrepreneurship training and support tools, real success stories from young South Africans building locally made solutions. And as we close, I want to leave you with this. South Africa's economic future is young, innovative, digital and green and local. And every entrepreneur joining us today is part of that shift. I also want to just leave you with our contacts for the NEF. If you need more information, you can visit us on our website, www.nefcorp.co.za. Proudly SA is www.proudlysa.co.za. SAYTA is www.sayta.co.za. Let's continue the conversation and inspire another young entrepreneur to take the next steps. Thank you for your time. Thank you to our partners, and thank you to our incredible speakers. Have a great day.